Hey Misfits, it's Elise. Welcome back to our channel. This week we're doing conspiracy theories, and I thought I would do mine on the kickvic movement, which is about a voice actor or former voice actor from the Funimation English dubbing anime company who cut ties with him over some alleged things and why I think it's a conspiracy. I filmed this before and it became a 45-minute video and I didn't even get to the point of it, so I'm trying to simplify this as best as I can. Enjoy, I hope. Okay, so we're taking this back to January. So before all this madness happened, the Funimation dub company, you know, remade or made the Broly movie. And that movie was very popular for Dragon Ball Super. Vic Mignogna played Broly, which is like the lead of the freaking movie and basically one of the baddest villains in the entire franchise. He's been Broly since the video games, which is like in the 90s. So this was like a big thing for him and he was getting all this positive press, and like even like Butch Hartman freaking interviewed him on his YouTube channel. Like everyone was like, who is this guy, or who's Vic Mignogna? And like I knew who he was for years. And I'm just like, you're just catching wind now that he's awesome? Y'all are out of your mind. Like, yeah, so like for the longest time, you know, other than little rumors here and there that he was a bad con guest or that he's creepy, like everyone kept saying he was creepy for years, and I'll basically explain that. It's pretty short to explain that one because it was all alleged. You know, he's had a pretty like clean career. He was also in like that newer Star Trek that was online only, like he was in that. He's done a lot of roles throughout the years. So Broly was like the high of his career, which is crazy because he's been so many iconic characters, but that really like made him popular because like I joke that Dragon Ball in general, like that whole franchise is like if you're not into anime, but like you'll like Dragon Ball Z. It's just something very basic and easily accessible. Not that it's not good, it's just like, it's like Naruto and Dragon Ball Z were like the things people watched even if they didn't like anime. So you know, it's just, that was big for him. So then we go to the end of January where these Me Too tweets started, and basically, I guess it started with this YouTuber named Mars Girl, and she like knows all these people from Funimation. So I don't know how much, or her involvement, but I guess her tweet started the whole thing with the hashtag kickvic, you know, calling him a creep. So the next tweet is the one I remember. It was Monica Rial, who was the voice of Bulma. She's not my Bulma, let me just tell you. No, I like the original Bulma. But basically, she put out this tweet about being assaulted, and it was like a Me Too thing, and people were piecing it together, and like, oh, is this about Vic type of thing? And she's like, yes, it's about Vic Mignogna, blah, 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 and he assaulted me. So that like started the whole kickvic thing because it was crazy after that with all these tweets. And basically, why are y'all on Twitter and not sorting this out legally with like a judge? You're posting about it on Twitter, like more than not, like I've seen if stuff like this was all over the internet and people already knew about it, like they dismissed this stuff in court. So this is just like, y'all are freaking idiots. Like, I don't know, because Vic was ignoring the whole thing on Twitter. He was just doing the PR thing to do. Oh, okay, I'm just gonna put a tweet and say preach positivity or something, and then like he was like not even posting about it, you know, he's just like, the fuck? Okay. XYZ. So all these tweets were getting worse and worse, like about him and just talking shit about him, and then like other Funimation actors were jumping in on it, and one of them was Jamie Marchi. She made some very graphic, violent tweets about him, like saying I want to like castrate him and hang him by his ball sack, or like he deserves to die. And like, what the fuck? Like, that's a threat. Like, she could have called he could have called the cops on her for that and like probably gotten her arrested, even if it was a couple days in jail. So that was a thing. And then there's all these other actors, and it just seems like they're either trying to protect Funimation because they all work for Funimation, or their friends work for Funimation, or they just don't like Vic in general, because it's just hardly, no one like for the longest time was coming out in support of this guy. And it was going on for like 2 months or so, and the tweets just got ridiculous more and more every day. And if you put like in a comment, on Monica's Twitter that you supported Vic, like you got blocked. Like it was crazy. So about 2 months go in, and then he finally says, guys, I'm getting a lawyer. Because like everyone was on Twitter posting about it, like, Vic, you need a lawyer, this is crazy. You know, all these conventions are canceling your appearances and ruining your life because of allegations. Like, you should lawyer up with this shit. And like he did, he brought it to court. He subpoenaed Funimation, Jamie Marchi, and he subpoenaed Monica Rial and Ron Toye, who was a voice actor there, and Ron Toye is also the fiance of Monica Rial. So clearly there's some conspiracy in there. So he did the right thing. There was a whole like Kickstarter done by fans, and then Vic didn't even want the money. He's just like, and that was the whole thing. People were talking shit about him. Oh, like, look, your fans are trying to pay your legal fees. What kind of dude are you? Right? He donated the money to charity because no one would take the money back. He's like, well, I'm gonna donate it to like a charity that I think deserves the money. And I remember the fans were like, okay, whatever. But yeah, so that was a thing. So then he finally lawyered up, and it's been like a court thing for like a couple months now. I think they've been in court for about 2 months now. I've been following this one channel called The Unreal Network. Yeah, and they have 69.4K subscribers. This guy's a lawyer, but he just doesn't practice in Texas. I think he should be Vic's lawyer. Like, what the fuck? He knows more than other people do, it seems. But, yeah, there's like there's depositions online, and why I think, you know, stuff was dishonest and misconstrued, and I'll go into that. But yeah, so there's a lot wrong with this case. It's not even completely over, but I just gotta get into it and change my battery. Okay, that was weird. But where do I start with this? I'm dehydrated, it's hot in here, and I had to turn my air off for you guys, so you're welcome. So over the years, Vic Mignogna is just a very popular guy. He's very nice. Like, he does the Make-A-Wish, and he does all these charity events. He goes to all these cons and travels to meet his fans, and he's just really cool. He'll act stuff out. He gives hugs and all this other stuff, and that's like the harmless side of him. But what people in the past have said is he's a bad con guest, or that he can be rude like to con staff, which that hasn't been proven, so that's kind of been thrown out. But the thing people have been saying is he's creepy because he kisses little girls. And I was one of those little girls who idolized him in middle school. I wrote him a letter back in 8th grade. I think I was still 13 at the time because it was before my birthday. And I remember I just pledged like that I loved all his work and all this other stuff. Like, I was doing an Or on a Bridge series. He played Tom McKee in Oran High School Host Club. And I'm like, hey, what's it, Dan Green did a little bit with little Karibo that he sent in. Like, can you do something like that? Like, that would be really cool, and like, you know, we're big fans of you type of thing, like, you know. And he wrote the nicest email back to me, and like, I know he wrote it because it's just the way it was worded. I was just like, oh, this is nice. Like, you could just tell he writes his fan mail, because he's always said I write back to my own emails. Like, I don't know if he still does this, but back in the day he did. And he's like, hi Elise, like, he addressed me by name. Like, he didn't just put hello fan or anything like that. Thank you for taking the time, like, for supporting me all the years. Like, I don't have the email anymore because my old Yahoo got deleted. But basically, I keep saying that word, take a drink, every time I say it. But he said something along the lines of thank you for all the support, and, you know, I hope to see you at an anime convention or something one day, blah, 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 XYZ. I can't because I'm legally in contract with the English dub of Oran High School at Funimation, but, like, if it's up, just send it to me type of thing. Like, you know, I said I wanted to work for Funimation and, like, be an editor and do all this stuff, XYZ, and he's like, I hope, like, you still continue to support, I support your dreams type of thing, you know. Like, it was a very nice letter. And I was just like, ugh, like, I should have printed it out and saved it. Because he signed the fucking email, like, you know those digital things where you can, like, sign your signature and then attach it to an email? Like, he did that, so I had the man's signature. That could have been worth a lot of money. I just would have put it on my wall, I'm gonna be honest. Like, I have little Karibo and Johnny Young Bosch up there. I could have put him up there. But, very, like, into his fans and just doing all this stuff. He was like, what's the word I'm trying to think of? Fan service. That's the word I'm trying to think of. Like, very, like, you know, like, fan servicey, where, like, other people would, like, give a kiss, like, or can I give you a kiss in the cheek for a picture, or he'd hug people real tight, and he was very, like, affectionate, and that's, like, what some people do take the wrong way, because that's why they would say, oh, he kisses and touches little girls, he's a pedophile. But then other people said he was gay, which makes no sense then, because if you're gay, wouldn't you, like, touch men? I don't know. So, like, it would either be he's into little kids, little girls, or that he's into men, which I don't understand. So that got misconstrued, because I've seen video of him in the past. Like, he always asked or said, oh, like, do you want a hug or something like that. At least in the recent times, he talked about it in a panel, like, I just need to make it more of an effort, like, where I say, hey, like, or I don't offer it anymore, like, if you ask, I'll give it to you, but, like, which is sad, because, like, I hug all my friends and stuff like that, and I give kisses, like, to my boyfriend, and, like, I give my mom and dad a kiss on the cheek, like, my sisters. That is, like, a cultural thing, because he said I'm Italian, and it's, like, a sign of gratitude, and people are like, oh, that's fucking bullshit, I don't do that. Like, I do that. How many of us grew up having to, like, give a kiss on the cheek to your aunt and uncle you don't really like, but, like, you do it anyway? Like, it's just something you do, like, and he did it as a gratitude thing, so, like, I just think people took it too far, because when you're a little kid and you meet your idol, and they can't even, like, if they just give you a handshake, that's lame. Like, it's honestly just, like, really lame. Like, Johnny Young Bosch, I met him twice already. Like, he's the Black Power Ranger. He also did Lelouch from Code Geass. He's done so many roles, too. Like, he gave me this really nice hug, and we took a picture, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to get you in trouble with your agent. Like, LOL. I'm like, oh, like, you know, the kickvic thing. And he's like, that's honestly really scary for voice actors. Like, yeah, you're totally right, but, like, no, like, it's cool, like, and plus he asks if you want to have a hug type of thing, or come into my arm, like, I want to take a picture with you, like, you know. So he was just overly affectionate to some, and it did upset some people, but that was a thing going on for years, and that's where, like, the pedophile thing came, because, like, Anime News Network posted a picture of him kissing a girl on the cheek and said she was underage, and she was 22 in the picture when it was taken, because the girl literally contacted the website and was like, hey, I was 22 in that picture, I'm not fucking underage, and you used it without my permission. I'm gonna come after you, like, shoot, like, what are you doing? Anime News Network didn't even apologize after that. Like, people are just blowing that out of proportion. They also said he's anti-Semitist because he made a remark at a convention one day, because, like, I don't know if you've been to a convention, so if you go to the second floor, there's, like, a big event hall, and that's, like, where his event was, but then there's other rooms next to it, and I think it was probably, like, a game room, or like, a presentation room. Like, it could have been karaoke, or, like, an AMV contest kind of thing, and it's, like, they're playing all this stuff, and it's loud, and it was, like, echoing or something. Like, it was something crazy. He's like, damn, like, is there a Holocaust going on in the room next door? Next day, he's labeled as anti-Semitist. Like, this is what I don't understand. If you look up the word Holocaust, it means, like, Armageddon. It means, like, kingdom come. Like, something crazy's happening. A revolution. Like, the Holocaust is not exclusive to just the Jews, or, like, just the Ukrainians, or, like, any other country that's had a Holocaust, which is, like, an extermination thing. Like, one of his roles he was in, Full Metal Alchemist, there was a genocide, there was a Holocaust in that anime, so he was just using the word, and they called him anti-Semitic. And then they said he was anti-gay because he was Christian, because he used to talk about how he's Christian, but he wasn't, like, pushing his beliefs on people. He wasn't, like, that kind of religious guy where he's, like, pushing it on you, like, you gotta be Christian, you gotta go to church. Like, he wasn't like that. In fact, he argued with the Westboro Baptist Church 2 years ago outside of a convention because they were protesting the convention, because apparently that was the work of the devil or something. And he basically told them off in Bible verses, so I don't think. And they were trying to say that, like, hentai and stuff is wrong, like, because it's gay. And, like, he told them off in the Bible verses. And he's like, dude, just get out of here. Otherwise, we gotta call the cops. Get out. So he told off people who are anti-gay with Bible verses of love, and he said he supported the community. Like, the only reason people said he wasn't is because he wouldn't sign yaoi fan art or like stuff that was inappropriate, and that's because of his contract with Funimation. Like, if it's not canon or like something that's inappropriate, he's not gonna sign it because he can get in trouble for that because his signature's on it. And the other one, someone said he was anti-gay, is because of an anime he was in. And this girl basically asked about the character relationship between these two characters, and oh, like, they're gay, right? Like, they're, like, cause, I don't know. Apparently the dub, the way they did it, was that it was, like, different than the manga. So, you know, he's like, no, they're not. And, like, honestly, if you're relying on the voice actor to tell you if they're gay or not, like, they don't confirm it. They don't write the script. Ask the guy who wrote the damn thing. Like, and because he said, no, I don't believe they're gay, because he voiced one of those characters in the relationship, and she was, like, really rude. They should have just cut her off after 2 sentences, like, you know? So that's all that rumors in the past. So now let's get into the modern thing and why I think there's a conspiracy. It is way too hot in here. Holy moly. So there was a lot of stuff, you know, a lot of tweets, a lot of things, you know, that were happening. You know, Monica Rial said that he sexually assaulted me. He raped me, type of thing, and it's in the deposition, and she basically talks about how there was a film, a fan-made film, you know, that they made, like, for the fans, and it was called Full Metal something, and it was like a fan-made thing that they did for the fans, and it was like on a DVD, and he's like, yo, watch this with me. And apparently, like, during or after them watching it in the DVD format in her hotel room or his, they made out or something, and then he was trying to have sex with her, or they had sex, and she said it wasn't consensual, and that basically she's been assaulted before, so she just has trauma from that, so she just laid there and took it. And basically that was a lie, because later they confirmed that she lied under oath, and her lawyer basically got away with it, which I don't understand, but Vic denied everything. And if you watch the body language between the two of them, Vic is looking straight ahead and, like, angry, but, like, you know, like, hey, like, what the hell, like, what do you mean I'm a pedophile? Like, what? No. Or what do you mean I assaulted her? We're not even romantic like that. I don't like her that way. No, we did not. We watched the film, and then blah 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 knocked on the door and said, hey, we gotta go to this panel. Cause, like, you know, there's con hotels, and it's, like, attached, and then you can, like, go upstairs and into the next building and, like, go to your room, and, like, that's what they do for the guests a lot. Like, they have a special floor. And, like, she said, like, the only reason, like, he got off me is because blah 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 was banging on the door, like, hey guys, like, we gotta go to this thing. And so that was proven to be, like, not conclusive or even a lie. If not, at least, because basically Nick Rekieta, her lawyer, got in trouble for lying and manipulating some of this evidence. And the way when you see Monica, she's not looking straight, she's either looking down or to the side. Like, she can't even, like, look at the guy she's talking to, and there's, like, fake tears, like, and then her voice goes back to normal after she cries. Like, that already was, like, screaming liar. Her last name backwards is liar, so it's just kind of ironic, right? So watching that deposition, I'm like, oh, she's fucking toast. So is Jamie Marchi. This is freaking absurd. Marchi's the one who put all these tweets out, like, saying violent things. Like, you know, at least Monica was like, hey guys, like, we can't be saying that kind of shit, like, about him, like, that's violence, like, I don't condone violence. At least she tried to cover her tracks. I'm trying to think what else was important, because that was a long video. But yeah, so basically at the end of that, you know, Vic was like, no, I've never even, like, kissed her. Oh, so there was another part of this deposition where she talked about Vic, like, touched her hair, like, pulled on her hair, and was, like, whispering sexual things in her ear, and, like, being really, like, flirty and, like, gross, I guess. And she was going into this story about how, like, he was all in her ear and stuff, and they all goofed like that, like, to each other, because there was an audio clip released not that long ago of them talking about, like, sex and all this other stuff. Vic made a jelly bean joke and they were like ostracizing him, but they said worse things in this recording, and I'll link that down below. And it was like other people who were doing the Dragon Ball thing with them, and it's like they were saying some fucked up shit, worse than that. Any joke he's ever made. So yeah, she said he like was pulling on her hair like real hard and like in her ear all aggressive, and he's like, listen, we're cool, we were friends, like, you know, anytime I'd see her, she changes her hair a lot, and it's like, I like your hair, and like, yeah, I would touch her hair, like, you know, and it would be like I'd fluff it or something, you know, like, but I never like grabbed her hair and was like in her ear like that. Like, sometimes, like, you know, you talk to someone, maybe you're too close, but that's about it, and like, that was like very conflicting. So it's like, there's just, that was, I don't know if that was the lie, but there was certainly some stuff they got called out for. So that should have been dismissed immediately, right? So these depositions, I thought Vic had it because just, he was composed and intelligent and he had his game face on, and then they were trying to say that he wasn't like court ready, or like that he was like not professional. And like, what I was getting pissed at is this lawyer, Nick Ricada, when they would ask Vic the questions, there was just certain things that like they didn't like, or it would basically, he would dismiss it by saying a certain phrase. And this judge is corrupt. That's like one thing that I'm pissed about in particular, because apparently he read the case file way before the case started, and that's like not what a judge does, and he already had an opinion. There's also like a conspiracy that he was paid off either by Funimation or like all these lawyers, that they're gonna be like, you know, have blah blah blah, you know, like these people, like make sure they win and we'll give you a cut of the money. Because then I was like, oh, I don't know about that, I think he's got this. This judge, you know, was asking how many tweets, or how have they talked bad about you, and then how many tweets did they post about you, and he's like, dude, I don't have a number, they keep tweeting every day type of thing. And it's like overruled or whatever, but like certain evidence they already had prepared, and Ty Beard, Vic's lawyer's like, here, look at this stuff, and he's like, I don't want that. Like, then what the fuck? You're literally just creating, like, not creating, but like you're pushing away evidence, like you're dismissing evidence, right? So I'm like, okay. So then, as of like 2 days ago, 3 days ago now, probably by the time this is uploaded, Marchie's, because there's like 3 separate lawsuits. There's one for Jamie Marchi and Vic, there's one for Monica Rial Rontoye and Vic, and then there's the whole Vic and Funimation one. Because there's a whole thing with that about the illegal or not so legal way that they searched him, because that might be a thing. They dismissed Marchie's case, and there's a whole tweet online dating back where Marchie said she's friends with a judge. So that's already fucked up. This guy should have been dismissed. This judge, his name is Chup. They should have dismissed that immediately. They should have picked another judge, because Monica technically lied under oath. She did, actually. Monica lied, and then he's siding with the other girl. Like, hello, corruption. Like, I know they can request a higher court or have another hearing, but it's like, what the fuck? And then the whole thing with Marchie and the whole thing being dismissed, they said Vic didn't show up to court and he had to be there. This was a type of thing where he didn't have to be there. So why is the news saying that he didn't show up to court and that's why it was dismissed? Like, are you kidding me? What the fuck? Ugh. I don't know legal terms, so anyone who's a lawyer, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. But now I'm going to talk about this friend of Vic Mignogna's, because it seems like everyone was just trying to, what's the word, you know, ruin him. Chuck Huber, who worked with Vic Mignogna for many years at Funimation, came out and said, I've been in the room, or I've been aware that they were possibly going to promote Vic to like a producer or a director role at Funimation, and that these other people were jealous because he was going to be permanent. And like, whereas like, you know, when you're a voice actor, you're on call, and it's either they hire you on, it's like a temporary thing, it's all like by contract and this, that, and the other thing. So, you know, it's like you're always looking for work because it's that kind of thing. They're not on staff. Like, they don't pay Monica Rial, like, salary. They don't pay Vic salary. He makes money when he's working on a dub or if he's working for Funimation and all this other stuff. So, a little birdie probably told them that they were considering to hire Vic permanently, like for some type of directing role, and that was like very close to the time frame of when this this whole defamation thing started happening, because literally, like, he said, like, I heard and they were trying to consider him for something, and like Chris Sabat doesn't like him, and they were trying to find a way to ruin his career. And so it was like, you know, he already had these allegations in the past that he was a creep, so hey, let's make it worse. You know, it's like high school girl shit, like, or it's like when I worked at Target, I remember they promoted my friend, Mike, if you're watching this, hey, what's up? People were talking mad shit, like, oh, like, they're interviewing people for a leadership position, and like, they interviewed blah, 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 and like, oh, and they're gonna promote Mike, or oh, they're grooming so-and-so to be a manager. Like, people talk when they hear any little detail, like in a work environment, and that's exactly what I think happened. They probably wanted to ruin his career because he probably was gonna get it or was a high contender. So it's like, oh, I already hate dealing with this guy when we're hired on, and now it's like I'd have to deal with him anytime I'm hired on. We gotta put a stop to this shit, because it just seems like this is the kind of environment it is. Now, I've heard Funimation is like a sweatshop. The way they treat their like interns and employees is terrible, and like they're literally subbing or finishing the subtitles for Super like minutes before it's on. Like, it's run like a sweatshop. So they probably were like, oh, like, shit, like, you know, the voice actors are contracted, they probably treat them differently. Like, Vic in the past has sent in stuff, like, from his own recording studio in his house, and was like, hey, here's the lines, sorry I can't get there today, type of thing. Like, he sent stuff in because sometimes, like, they didn't have good equipment, or it was to help save them time and labor. And they would be like, he's like, hey, can I do this over again? Like, I didn't like this. Like, you know, he was very meticulous and on top about his work. And he's had many, like, producing and directing credits in the past. So, like, it's very probable that they were going to promote him or make him permanent, and they didn't like that. God only knows why, other than that it's jealousy. But I think this whole thing spiraled out because he was so close to, like, getting this director position or, like, whatever it may be. And boom, like, ruin his career. Like, Unleash the Dancing Lobsters. Like, they literally were like, we gotta find something. And like, I honestly, in my opinion, and like, I don't know if it's like, because I talked about this on Facebook and I unfriended many SJWs in this scenario that just hated Vic Mignogna from the beginning. I said, like, I think Monica liked him at one point, or still did, and she's jealous, or like wanted to get a piece of that pie, and she didn't. So instead she's with Ron Toye. Like, you know, like, I think she liked Vic, because at one point in the deposition, which I think which should have been off limits, they talked about his unfaithfulness to his former fiance, Michelle Spleet? I don't know how to say her name. And he's like, yeah, like, there was like this one girl at Funimation I did like make out in a room with, type of thing, and he talked about it, and he was like, you could tell he was telling the truth. He was just uncomfortable. He just was like, yeah, about that, like, yeah, and he admitted to like cheating on his girlfriend before. So it was like, this girl was friends with Monica, and I guess, I don't know who met who by who, but everyone was friends. I think Monica wanted some of that, and he said no. Which is valid, you could say no, but apparently, oh, he assaulted me when I said no. Like, it just seems like she's projecting onto him at this point, you know, like, and then that whole audio file, which again, I'll link, of them, like, talking and saying inappropriate stuff that, like, 12-year-old boys would say once they discover porn. Like, acting out, like, fake DBZ scenarios, and there was a whole thing like that Funimation did, and they used people's fan art, and they got in trouble for that, and like, it ruined people's fan art, because like, oh, I didn't give permission for that, and I don't want that type of imagery used with my images. I know it happened with Avatar: The Last Airbender at Comic-Con one year too. So like, it's just calling the kettle black and there's a lot of projection. I think Vic was onto something, like he was gonna get a big piece of Funimation, like maybe he was gonna buy part of the company, God only knows. And they had to put a stop to him somehow, so that's what they did. So I hope this explained it well enough, because like I'm trying to condense this because it was gonna be like an hour and a half long and that's way too fucking long. So at the end of it, the judge is corrupt, the lawyers are corrupt. Like Ty Beard, who's the lawyer for Vic, he's not assertive enough in court, because he could be like, no, you need to shut up, or you need to stop talking, or you need to stop telling me what I need to say. Like, the way, like, I've been seeing some comments on, like, this YouTuber, the Unreal Network, everyone's saying that Ty needs to, like, needs to be more assertive with these people he's, like, you know, he's doing the trial with. Like, it's just, like, they're letting them walk all over him, like he's inexperienced, blah, blah, blah. There was a lot of shit talking about Vic's lawyer. But the guy who they picked for Monica, like, I can't stand his voice. It sounds like he swallowed a bunch of cigarettes and had, like, throat cancer. Like, it sounds like he can't clear his throat. Like, I know that sounds rude, but, like, I hate his voice. He sounds almost like, you know that guy from American Dad? Like, the creepy old man that, like, with the little kids, and he tried to get them in their house. Like, he sounds like him. Like, he's unsettling to listen to, and I haven't even looked at his face. Like, oh, like, there's just so much conspiracy with this case. I honestly think something is wrong. And I hope even at the end of this, if it doesn't work out in Vic's favor, he can go to a higher court or have it, like, looked at again, because I forget what that's called. Because this is not right. This judge should have been thrown out, and the lawyer for Monica really needs to just be thrown out, because he brings up a lot of, like, fucked up questions, like, in Vic's life. Like, he brought up about, did he cheating on his girlfriend, and stuff that I thought was off limits, like about his personal life. And then the Holocaust thing, like all this stuff that, like, to me just is off limits or irrelevant. So this whole case needs to be thrown out and started over. Like, it just needs to be gone. Like, the way it's been happening has been pissing me off. I follow it every single day, like, online, and I watch the streams. The Unreal Network I like because he simplifies it for me, because I am not a lawyer. But it's pissing me off. So it's like, I think it's a conspiracy, and that's like one of the things they're suing for, is a conspiracy. Oh, I'm dying. Like, a conspiracy, basically, because they're trying to get him fired, right? That for some reason they don't want him there anymore. So it's like, let's find incriminating stuff about this person and ruin their life. Like, that's a conspiracy. Like, oh, you have to prove loss of income for all these conventions and, like, what you were gonna get paid, or this, that, and the other thing. And then there was a lot of stuff that they said they kicked him out of, but he went to the convention anyway and there was no issues. So there's a lot of misinformation, and even all these news outlets are just siding with the girls. Like, the Me Too, like, there was an article, like, anime gets its Me Too moment, like, Vic Mignogna fired for sexual misconduct over the years, and, like, all these news outlets that are covering it, because this made the national news. Like, my parents are like, Elise, that name sounds really familiar. Like, anime, like, Vic Mignogna, why does that sound familiar? I'm like, Mom, I wrote him a letter when I was 13 saying, asking him if he wanted to be in a YouTube segment with me. Like, he was, like, my favorite voice actor for years. Like, and my mom's like, that's why I know that name. I'm like, yeah, like, I wrote fan mail to him. And she's like, yeah. And, like, they're like, wait, he's a pedophile? I'm like, ugh! Like, the way even the news is talking about him, he needs to contact all these news outlets that are talking shit about him. So, like, Anime News Network, I don't know if he covered, but, like, even the local news, I get he's, like, by himself now, and he probably doesn't have, like, a PR team, but Vic has got a lot of shit going on. If he has another lawyer, someone else could call that news network, hey, retract that statement because we're suing you. like, or were suing your asses off. Like, you do not just come out with shit when there was no trial. Like, hello, like, nothing. Like, there's so much defamatory stuff going on about him, and they're not, like, getting in trouble for it legally. I remember when I talked crap about my grad school experience, I got contacted by my old school saying that I need to retract my statement. Like, this was when I was doing the, what's the word? When I was doing, like, my debt, they tried to charge me for the semester. I took leave of absence, and I remember they're like, you need to take us out of that video, like, saying that. Yeah, University of Blank, if you're watching this, like, F you. Like, I'm like, there's no legal thing. I never signed an NDA. Like, I fought that shit. I was gonna come in with a lawyer and sue them because of, like, what happened. They retracted all my debt, and I'm like, good, see you later. Like, people normally come after you if you talk shit about someone. Now, in my case, it was because they defamed me after I left the school, and I said I was gonna sue them if they didn't stop contacting me, so they stopped. But Vic can do the same thing. Like, there's so much conspiracy. Like, does no lawyer want to work with him? Like, I would see dollar signs if I was working with him. Oh, he's a public figure. Yeah, like, that's public figure money. Like, it's absolutely bonkers. I wish I went to law school and lived in Texas, because I would help him out, but hold on. Yeah, that's basically where the end of this conspiracy video is. I hope it was interesting to someone. I just think there's conspiracy and that they're trying to ruin this man's life. I think it's because of he was in too much power and he had to be stopped kind of thing. Or it's hiding something bigger within Funimation none of us realize. I don't know what it could be. Like, I don't know, maybe they're going down the shitter and this was a way to get them some clout. Like, now they're gonna lose a ton of money. Even if Vic loses this lawsuit, like, so many people are gonna be bitter after that. Like, if I had a huge dub company and I, like, had millions of dollars, I would hire Vic Mignogna. Like, just be like, hey, sign here. Like, you wanna work for us? Like, he is big name money, like, but all these companies dropped relations with him because of what Funimation pulled, and, like, it's a whole monopoly thing, and it's like they're a big name, and they ruined this man's life. Like, there's gotta be something. So that's what I think. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys next week with my next video. Bye.